The most ambitious part of this movie? Thinking it would last in theaters long enough to actually be a Christmas movie.
I'm Carla's mom.
Hi, Isis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. You must be Amy's mom. I'm Carla. Jackson, honey, Mama needs more hooch.
Ooh, good idea.
Yeah. That's my son, Jackson. This is my mom, Isis.
Hello, Ruth, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
ISIS, like the terrorist organization.
This is my mom, Sandy.
Oh, Amy, I've heard so much about you. Oh boy, you really have the same haircuts.
Hello, I'm Ruth. I'm Amy's mom.
I'm Jesse. I was literally just in the car with you.
Bad Moms Christmas is the second movie in the Bad Moms franchise. Can't believe that's actually a thing. This again stars Kristen Bell, Kathryn Hahn, and Mila Kunis coming together, but this time with their moms, with the addition of another generation. Just make it all that much funnier. Well, here's 5 things you might want to know about Bad Moms Christmas. No, this isn't as good as the first one was, which wasn't great really, but was kind of a nice surprise hit. And I think there's some reasons why, but let's start with the good stuff. Even though it's not as good as the first one, a lot of that DNA from the first one is here. You can see the same things about this one that you knew and loved from the first one, whether it be our performers. These gals are really good together. They have good chemistry, and they're also great performers, and they are elevating the material here a little bit, even though they can't completely save it. It also is completely raunchy like the first one was. In fact, this one even a little more so. I feel like if you take out the shock raunch jokes from this one, I feel like you're going to be left with very little humor. There's very little beyond that. Having said that, a lot of it actually works. It's not just raunchy. It is a little clever as well. So it does work. There are those occasional funny moments, just a little too occasional for me. The standout for me and the other good thing about the movie has to be Kathryn Hahn. Now, Belle and Kunis, they're fine. They're great here. But she is doing something that nobody else in this movie is doing. And in fact, doing stuff that the movie itself wants to do but can't quite accomplish. She is both being over the top, raunchy, and funny, and also delivering on the emotional moments. I don't feel like anybody else here does that. And it's especially sparse when you consider you're adding 3 ladies to the mix with these 3 people's moms, and Kathryn Hahn just runs circles around all of them. So it almost feels at times like only one of the 6 valves is actually firing, and so it can make the movie overall feel down, but I gotta give her props for her performance. Here's the thing though, as much as I feel like there's still a little bit of that fun from the first one, and Kathryn Hahn is really great, this movie's just really poorly written. Let's just start there. And I'm not just talking about the dialogue, although there are some dialogue moments, more the story and the plot of this movie. It doesn't go anywhere. I think I get overall what they were going for, but the actual structure of the scenes on how to get there, it's really just a loosely constructed collection of SNL skits where they try to kind of tie them together, but they don't really do it. So there's the scene in the trampoline place, and there's the scene at the big Christmas party, and they're trying to figure out how to make it a cohesive story. The problem is, they don't. Which really leads to the last 2 negatives. I think they are dependent on that story in some way, because the first is that the emotion doesn't work. There's nothing about the heartstrings, other than Hahn, who I mentioned before, that actually pulls you in. And I think it's because you're not connected to the actual life that they're living. You don't understand the progression of the characters from point A to point Z. So you cannot be there with them when they're trying to make those big revelation moments. Because of that, you're not connected and you're not feeling what they're feeling, and so you're actually just kind of bored. But you know what I think the main thing is with all of this? I don't think I buy into the overall premise of the movie. I kind of find it depressing. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand I think what they were trying to go for. They're trying to go for the don't put pressure on yourself, allow yourself the grace to mess up, to make mistakes, and then to move on. But that's different than allowing yourself permission to be an awful parent. And because the movie goes so far over the top, it kind of negates its own purpose. It doesn't understand that it's not about the grace to make mistakes in this movie. It seems to be about permission just to not even care. And I don't feel like those two things go together. So the movie doesn't buy into its own premise. So I'm having a hard time buying into the premise. I am so pro-mom. Give yourself the grace to be who you are, but you don't at the same time get to just throw everything into the wind. And I don't think this movie understands which it wants to be. Overall, I feel like a bad mom's Christmas miss on so many levels that even with some funny times, even with a great performance by Hahn, I can't give it more than a C-. Thanks for checking out this Your Movie Friend review. We'll get to the best ever challenge here in a bit. Before we do, though, let's connect further. You can hit me up on Twitter at Aaron Dicer, AARONDICER. You can also follow here on YouTube. Hit subscribe and comment, all that fun stuff. And of course, thank you so much for your support at Patreon. Patreon.com/YourMovieFriend starts at $3 a month. Get some pretty fun perks there. Oh, and check out the podcast, SiftPop. I knew I forgot something. SiftPop if you want to search for SiftPop in your podcast player. All right, let's do the best ever challenge where you name the best movie ever in a particular category. Also identify my choice. Let's go with best Kathryn Hahn movie ever, since it's all about the Hahn, apparently, this episode. Let's do, for me, I'm going to have to go with a Kathryn Hahn movie that was ranked just below Major Fabulous. Take a guess at mine in the comments. First person to get it right does get a point. As always, here's a few extra seconds to hit subscribe. Just click my face.